Let's check that out
Let's
first.
take it up from the top. Yeah, it wasn't loading. Well, hey, we're live now, and welcome to another edition of Bloom Review. I'm Parker Bell alongside Greg Bergman, and of course, special guest Travis Rogers. If you couldn't tell, we're 2 minutes late because we thought we were live, and Parker Bell was, well, speaking in third person, I didn't have us live.
They didn't teach you anything at Man Camp. they didn't teach you how to set up the stream or how to get Yates to show up.
Gosh, 0 for 2.
Yates doesn't show up in the middle of the playoffs and the Dodgers run on a Dodger podcast, but that's cool. But Travis Rogers is here because Travis Rogers is reliable and just kicking me off the side.
I'm trying to make sure that I'm in the shot.
And also, not only that, look at this. I have my own headset. You have your own headset.
It's kind of hoping we get to share again.
I like it too, but the people want what the people want, and that's not us face to face. All right, so go ahead, Parker. You were going to ask a question before we actually went on the air.
Yeah, we're live now across all socials, and remember, you can find us at ESPN Los Angeles across all platforms. You can find Greg at Corporate Greg, Travis at Travis Rogers. Thank you again for joining us. And before we get into these questions, let me just say that we are presented by LAX, and Los Angeles International Airport, as always, is creating changes, and they're arriving daily to reduce traffic, and you can save guests time, transform the travel experience, and more at flylax.com/transforminglax. All right, so Travis Rogers, the season lies in the hands of Lance Lynn. Here we are. How are we feeling about tonight's matchup?
I like the matchup, not because Lance Lynn is on the mound. Look, Lance Lynn's been around a long time. I don't think he's won a playoff game in something like 10 years, but I know he's not going to go out there and be scared. And I think that matters a great deal. I think that the moment was big for Bobby Miller on Monday night. I think that he got caught up in the magnitude of his first ever playoff game. I don't know if that's going to happen with Lance Lynn. Lance Lynn might pitch poorly because sometimes he pitches poorly.
Because he's Lance Lynn?
Right, because he's Lance Lynn, but I don't think it's going to be because the moment is really big. I'm optimistic for one simple reason. The Dodgers are a good team. I know that they haven't showed up as a good team in the last couple of games, but you don't win 100 games on accident. You don't win 100 games by being lucky. You don't win the division by, 16 games because, you caught a couple of breaks along the way. The only way you do that is by being really, really good. And asking them to win a baseball game is not a huge ask. It's felt like it over the last couple of games, but I am optimistic because, simply put, they're a good team, and I believe that they're going to show up as a good team tonight, I think.
You hope. So I got a note from Carlos Saisu, our wonderful fun and games department friend, Carlos Saisu. He sent me a note that the Dodgers are 2-0 when Lance Lynn pitches on a Wednesday. So today is Wednesday. So
I'll take it.
That feels good, right?
I'll take it.
It's fate.
It's exactly. So Lance Lynn is somebody, and we all know he gives up a ton of home runs, right? So 44. I'm looking at his stats in the post. 44. Jeez, 44.
Quite a few.
That's more than a little. I'm looking up his postseason stats. He's not great in the postseason. He gives up a lot of runs. He has a lot of losses. He's 5-5, 528 area. But the thing that I'm actually looking at that I like to see is his home run total. He hasn't given up a home run in the postseason since, 2013. He hasn't been in since 2015. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I got that wrong. No, it is since 2013. But he gives up runs. Like, he gives up a ton of runs. He doesn't last very long since with Chicago. All of these things. We hope, like you say, it's a good matchup. He can pitch well. He knows what he's doing. He's not going to be like Bobby Miller and be like, oh, my God, I'm scared. It's a big moment. What am I going to do? I can throw 100 miles an hour, but I can't locate.
Right.
So he's going to be okay when he gets in there.
The Dodgers are not going to win or lose this game because their pitching is great. They're not going to lose this game because their pitching is terrible. They're going to win or lose this game whether or not the bats show up. I said it as Clayton Kershaw was having the worst night of his life. And then Emmett Sheehan came in and really struggled. And then by the time he got into the 6th or 7th inning and the game had long been over, that wasn't the story for me. The story for me was that they didn't hit again. They've hit the ball hard 3 times in 2 games. Will Smith's triple was hit hard. J.D. Martinez's home run was hit hard. And the line drive from Kike Hernandez to left field was hit hard.
In the bottom of the 9th.
That's 2 games, 18 innings worth of baseball with a team that won 100 games. You hit the ball hard 3 times. It's not that Bobby Miller, as bad as he was, only gave up 3 runs. I know it was in 3 runs in an inning and 2/3. They don't hit. if they're going to win, it's not because Lance Lynn beats the Diamondbacks 1-0. They're going to win this game. They're going to have to win by scoring 6, 7, 8 runs. They're going to have to show up offensively, and that's why they're going to win if they're going to win, not because that Lynn is great. The bullpen has been pretty darn good along the way. I would be surprised if the Dodgers lose a game, 7 or 8 to 6 or something like that. But that's how they're going to have to win one of these games.
Absolutely, and it falls directly on two people. For me, it's not Andrew Friedman and it's not Dave Roberts. It's not Clayton Kershaw and it's not Bobby Miller. They had a
Can I guess?
But yeah, you can go ahead.
Mookie and Freddie.
It's Mookie and Freddie.
Yeah.
Those two guys need to step up tonight. If they want to keep going, if they're the guys that they say they are, they're the most expensive players on the league, on the team. They make the most money. They were MVP candidates this year. They had two of their best seasons ever.
Yeah,
ever. And they've been around a long time, and they're doing nothing. One hit in the postseason, Travis.
It kind of cuts both ways because everything he's saying is right. But if Mookie and Freddie had 2 bad games in a row in July, whatever, right? It's literally, but it's not 2 games in July. It's 2 games in October after seeing what we saw last year in October against San Diego, and it's a pattern, and it's been. Not just that they're not getting hits, it's the quality of at-bats that they have. When's the last time you saw Freddie Freeman frozen in place with runners at first and third on a full count? Not very often. Mookie's swinging at pitches that he never swings at during the regular season. Being ultra aggressive to the point of his own detriment. They need to be good. I know that baseball is not just go out there and make it happen kind of sport. They need to go out there and make it happen, and it has to happen tonight.
And you mentioned when was the last time you saw Freddie Freeman freeze at a pitch?
Yeah.
When was the last time you saw Mookie and Freddie ground into a double play?
Right.
With Mookie on base.
Right.
That doesn't happen. Those are things that they're not aware of. Like they just don't do those things. So you need those two guys. Those two guys, you need leaders.
They got to hit.
And also, you were looking up today earlier today. I came in early and I was talking to you about what Mookie Betts. Mookie Betts hasn't really done anything for 3 years now.
So this is his 3rd series in a row where he's been bad. He was bad in the National League Championship Series against Atlanta in 2021. He was bad against the Padres last year in the Division Series in 2022. He's been bad against the Diamondbacks in 2023 in the Division Series. Prior to that, he was terrific. So this isn't a big stage thing for him because, we saw him win the World Series with Boston. We've seen him win the World Series and be a big part of what they did here in 2020. So it's not Mookie isn't a primetime performer. We've seen him do it before. It's where did that guy go and how do you get him back?
So one of the things remember when Freddie Freeman was on Atlanta and we played them in the NLCS.
And I did exactly what you're talking about.
Every single time he came up to bat, you're like, he didn't get a lot of hits, but you're like, it's going to go. Next one, this next one's going. You were terrified he was going to hit a home run. I don't feel that way. I don't know if it's because he's on the Dodgers.
I think that's what it is, Greg, because honestly, if I'm going by memory here, and I think this is right, in the NLCS in 2020, I believe Freddie struck out 7 times in a row.
Yeah, at the beginning.
Which is an insane thing to think of with Freddie Freeman because he doesn't strike out much at all, much less. And every time he struck out, I'm like, oh, no.
It's gonna
all
come.
That means is
coming.
that it's coming.
It's coming.
Those 7 strikeouts that should be spread out over 6 months means 7 home runs that should be spread out over 6 months are coming in the next window. I would imagine if you talk to the Arizona Diamondbacks fans and their scouts, they know that Freddie it's a matter of time. It's going to happen.
And
but
probably Mookie, too.
Probably Mookie. The difference is I don't get the sense that Freddie's swinging a lot of bad pitches. I think that he's not getting a lot of hits, but I feel like his approach is relatively the same. Mookie, not so much. Get a lead, play from ahead, rely on your bullpen, and get like one big hit. What would be great is, maybe you get second and third, 2 outs in a situation, and it's an Outman. It's a Rojas. It's somebody, maybe Kike's in the lineup today. I think that's probably
I think
likely.
he will be.
He should be. Yeah. Somebody gets a hit to bring in a couple runs, and everybody goes, finally, right? And just now the talent can be the differentiator. So far it hasn't. So far it's been stress. So far it's been playing from behind, and they got to change that.
No, they absolutely do.
So, guys,
I'm going to go do my show.
He's going to get out of here. All right.
Yeah, hey, Travis, thank you for joining us, man.
You're the best, man.
I tend to talk a lot.
He shows up. Somebody that shows up. Clinton Yates, we're talking to you.
So, Greg, of course, thank you again, Travis Rogers. You can find him, Travis and Sliwa, the show after us.
Share anymore.
All right, Greg.
Yes.
Is this game?
By the way, real fast.
Yeah.
I want to thank the circle. The circle of trust is in the YouTube chat right now, and there's a bunch of them in there, and they're all just all commenting, all getting in there. So I appreciate the circle of trust. Good on you guys. Thank you very much for showing up, all you guys, including
Shout
the
out.
general Crypto Ray.
That's right. I like to say I do have a little circle of trust pin, so shout out. I know I'm not wearing it now. It's on my backpack.
I need to get pinned. One day I'll get pinned.
You got to get pinned.
All right.
So,
Yeah.
Greg, my question to you is, are we going to know that this game is over by the first inning, just like the last two games?
No, I don't. I don't think the game was over in the last game
after being 3-0. Yeah.
Yeah. It felt that way in game 1. It absolutely did. It hurt when it happened in game 2, right? He gave those 3 runs, but they kept getting on base, and there was little things that started. JD Martinez hit the home run. You felt really, okay, here we go. This is going to start. This is going to the start of something. Even in the first inning, when which is a really stupid move by Freddie Freeman, he slid into first base. And then I was like, okay, he's getting something. That was his only hit of the series, but he's going to get going. So like he's going to start moving. That's going to get everybody all fired up and really ready to go. But that didn't work. But I felt like they had a lot of chances. They had chances over and over and again. I think they had bases loaded at least 2 times. They had runners on first and third 2 or 3 times. They just couldn't get the big hit, and that's been the problem for the Dodgers in the postseason, Parker. It's just that when you need a hit, there was nobody to come up and get that hit. The whole thing with Miguel Rojas being pulled for Colton Wong was a mistake, but they're basically the same guy. I thought it was a minor mistake. So I didn't think that game was ever over. I actually felt like they were going to come back and win. Unfortunately, they didn't. But it was all there. Like it was a possibility.
Yeah, it was there. And to your point about Wong, I mean, it shouldn't have even gotten to that point because Outman struck out before Wong even had to step up to the plate. So that I would have to say is on Outman and his terrible at bats this series.
But he's a rookie, so you can kind of get away. I want to talk about that for a second, Parker. Like, he's a rookie. He's a younger guy. Like his biggest mistake was pitching the third pitch. The third pitch was outside, low, nowhere near it. He guessed that it was going to be down the middle, and he wanted to hit it out of the park. So instead of being patient for a guy that cannot throw strikes, he decided to swing at something, and that was a mistake.
Yeah. No, and why don't we hit a couple of YouTube questions while we're here?
Please.
We got Jeff
Casper
T in the
Villa
chat,
in there
Greg.
too, Troy Lake. Look at all that. Yep.
Yeah, we see a whole bunch of people. Let's take one from Jeff T real quick. Do you think Doc will pull Lance if he gets in trouble in the first? Same as the Bobby Miller, the Game 7 mentality, as Doc said. Pepio, obviously he's there. Is that what the plan is?
Absolutely. I think what he said with Bobby Miller is the same thing that's going to happen with Lance Lynn. He is going to manage this game like it's a Game 7 from now on. Every game is, because it is. Every game is Game 7 for him. So he's going to change it. Like if you get into any type of trouble, you're out. So the first sign of trouble, Ryan Pepio goes into the bullpen and he's warming up. If he has to warm up a couple times, that's fine. But he needs to be ready because no matter what, if he gets into any type of trouble, you pull him and bring Ryan Pepio in, and you just start mix and matching your bullpen. The tough part about this is you actually kind of need Lance Lynn to pitch really well tonight, or the combination of Lance Lynn and Ryan Pepio, because you don't get an off day this time.
Yeah,
they play. If you win, you play tomorrow in Arizona. There's no off day like there had been in between games 1, 2, and 3. So your bullpen is going to get tired out after now. If you have to have a long bullpen game, that's a problem. But yes, he will absolutely do that.
Yeah, because of course, like you mentioned, if they do win tonight, when Kershaw will need backup.
Yes.
So we cannot be having a long bullpen game, and we'll see how tonight turns out.
Yeah. So you bring up Kershaw. So this is kind of my hope almost, is that you can go long with Lance Lynn somehow. He was always an innings eater. If you can get him to somehow make it to 6 innings and then just kind of go into your bullpen, you don't necessarily have to start Kershaw on Thursday. I mean, let's just get through this game first. But if you can go long with Lance Lynn, you can go to Ryan Pepio in game 4 and not pitch Kershaw. Kershaw is hurt. There's no doubt about it. He's not the same pitcher. That doesn't happen to a guy that's hurt. That's not hurt.
Yeah.
Giving up 6 runs and only getting 1 out, That does not happen to a guy like Clayton Kershaw. It doesn't happen to anybody unless they're in so much pain and are very hurt that they can't pitch. So hopefully you go long and get Ryan Pepio in tomorrow.
All right, here's a fun little topic because I know we saw this as we were following the Dodgers and what they were doing post game, and Crypto Ray brought it up in the chat. Roberts was in the meeting at the front office yesterday and not with the mandatory Dodgers workout. What do you suppose was told to him, Greg?
I mean, they're probably just if you want the political answer, they probably just said, this is what's going on. Like, this is what our game plan for tomorrow, blah, blah, blah. But honestly, if I was Andrew Friedman, I say you win this series or you're fired. Like, that's it. You're done. It's no matter what. And maybe it's like, hey, I don't know if you want to continue managing. It's strain on people's body. We'll bring you up into the front office. You can stay with the Dodgers. We love you. Everybody loves you around here. Sometimes you just need a new voice. We'll bring you to the front office. But I am fully on board with every other person that has ever said it. I was never a fire Dave Roberts guy. If they lose this series, I don't care if it's in 3 games, 4 games, or 5 games. If they lose this series, he's done.
Done. Donezo.
Done.
All right, you heard it here. One more question. We got the time. Casper Villa in the chat asks Greg, do we expect the Dodgers to make adjustments offensively and start stealing some bases, playing some small ball, which, of course, is the Diamondbacks' forte? Yeah,
so I would like them to. They're just not that type of team. I would like that to happen, especially with the stealing of bases. I was hoping that when Mookie got on first, steal. When Outman walked, steal. Like, I want to see some movement on the base pass. I would love to see some bunting, but I just don't think that's in their DNA. And you can't just all of a sudden say, hey, we haven't done any type of bunting whatsoever in the regular season or for the last 5, 6, 7 years.
Yeah.
Go out there in a playoff game and drop me down a bunt. It's just unfortunately not that easy, but I would love to see it. I think they're going to make adjustments to the lineup, and that will change some things. I think Kike is in the lineup today because he played very well. Yep. Yes, I think he played very well, so he'll be in the lineup tonight. And he also, I feel like I trust Kike in the playoffs more than I trust some of these other guys because we've seen him get big hits in the playoffs. We've seen him get in do or die games, get big hits. He had 3 of them against the Cubs. 3 home runs against the Cubs. So I think they're going to do a little bit more of that. If we can get some more small ball, great. But the problem with small ball is it's harder to do it when you're down by 6 or 3 runs because every one of those outs count. When Outman gets on base and you're down 3-0, do you want to run him to second to possibly be caught? If he gets caught at second, you lose any type of momentum that you possibly had.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, on to the other point of Casper's point, it's very much the situation. If you get on base and he steals and makes it, then it's like, oh, now everybody's all excited. So I don't know. It goes both ways, but I think the way that the Dodgers work, and that is the analytic portion of them, is that they do not want to give away outs, especially when you're down in the series, especially when you're down 0-2 in a series. And especially when you only have 27 of them.
Yeah, I fully expect them to play it safe in that regard. What they need to do, and you could see it in the title of the YouTube chat, is wake up, grab a little brush and put on makeup.
No, makeup. Is that what it says? Is it grab a brush and put a little
makeup? Yes, it's a shout-out System of a Down. I need the Dodgers to bring that energy. I need them to be pop, 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 because just the sense of urgency hasn't been there. It's got me fired up. I don't want to see a pool party in Phoenix. Yeah. I don't want to see a pool party at Chase Center. I know they're going to do it. I mean, Chase Field. And I don't want to see any broomstick shirts coming from the Arizona Diamondbacks fans because the Dodgers are better than that. They're a better team than that. And they should win tonight. And they brought up a point in the chat. If they do win tonight, are we really going to get sliced again by Gallen and Merrill after the success they've had in them the whole season? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So Gallen and Merrill they had huge leads when they first walked out there.
Yeah.
If they go in there 0-0, they're different Gallen and different Merrill. If they're up 6-0 and to go out there, you can do whatever you want. You can start pounding the strike zone. If you're up 3-0, you can be a little bit more creative and throw a little different pitches. So no, if it's 0-0, they smash him regularly. Both those guys, they smash those guys. But they went in with big leads and they're like, all right, cool. I'm it will be a different story because tomorrow the Dodgers get to go first. If they score first, then we'll see what they can actually do if they just start to pucker a little bit, you know?
Yeah, pucker. All right. Well,
I try to keep it down a little bit.
Yeah, I know. I was getting fired up too earlier.
Yeah.
This has been the Blue Review with Greg Bergman, and I'm not Clinton Yates. Clinton Yates might look a little different.
He doesn't show up to these things in the playoffs, so he has better things to do.
Yeah, Parker Bell here. The next time you see us will be tomorrow, and it'll be after a win. So thank you for joining us. We'll catch you tomorrow. This has been the Blue Review. Thank you, LAX.